Ladies and gentlemen, it's our final match of the afternoon here at the Gibraltar Darts Trophy. And we bring to the stage a former World Grand Prix finalist, the winner of 5 PDC ranking titles, the history maker, Brendan Dolan. Brendan's opponent is his PDC World Cup of Darts Northern Ireland teammate, the reigning World Grand Prix champion, Super Chin, Daryl Gurney.
One more spot in round 3 up for grabs this afternoon, and it's going to go to a Northern Irishman, but that's all we're certain of, as Brendan Dolan and Daryl Gurney go head-to-head for a place in the last 16 of the Gibraltar Darts Trophy. World Cup of Darts partners, these two, for Northern Ireland. The leading light of darts from the Emerald Isle right now, Daryl Gurney, but it was Brendan Dolan back in 2013, 2014, when he was picking up titles, regularly making finals, a real threat in every major tournament. And he's just shown little signs of a return to form, but it was back in 2014 when these two first met, and that is the only time that Brendan has beat him, because every single time since then, it's gone the way of Super Chin, hasn't it, Chris Murphy?
It has. 5 consecutive victories for Daryl Gurney against Brendan Dolan. And it does coincide with the changing of the guard in Northern Irish darts. 2014, the win that you mentioned for Brendan Dolan, and it was around that time that he picked up his last PDC title. Well, his most recent PDC title, as you said. Who's to say he's not going to add more to his collection? Reached a semi-final recently on the Pro Tour in Milton Keynes. In fact, it was back-to-back quarter-final runs that weekend.
Yeah, for the first time in a good couple of years. In fact, more than that, I think, for Brendan Dolan, that he'd gone back-to-back in ranking events to the quarter-final stages or further. Quarter-final on the Saturday, semi-final on the Sunday.
Brendan to throw first. Game on.
Game on here, and from friends to foes in the space of 1 week. On stage together in Frankfurt at the World Cup of Darts. Now the task with toppling their teammate here in Gibraltar. Winner will take on Steve West, who earned himself a maiden victory against Darren Webster
134.
earlier on. That was one of the 7 matches that we've had this afternoon before this one. Also seen wins for Andy Bolton over Stephen Bunting, Gerwyn Price, James Wade
100.
getting out of jail a little against Ross Smith, Simon Whitlock and Johnny Clayton. Much more comfortable in wins against Adam Huckvale and Hans Schneer, and then Max Hope, very impressive in beating Ian White.
180.
Daryl Gurney already launching an attack on Brendan Dolan against the darts in leg one.
Well, their campaign at the World Cup last weekend didn't last very long, but it was entertaining.
136.
They had a fabulous first round game. Steve Lennon, young Irish player, finalist on the Euro Tour this year. He was playing at the World Cup with Ireland. Willie O'Connor was his partner last weekend in Frankfurt. But yeah, they had a
45.
fabulous first round game with the Poles. Krzysztof Ratajski and Titus Karnik taking them all the way to a last leg decider, and Daryl Gurney coming up with the goods in that one. 101 checkout in the last leg decider, with Poland sat on a finish themselves. But then they're involved in a thriller with Germany, and once again the Northern Irish
100.
were beaten by that German team of Schindler and Hopp.
42.
You mentioned Steve Lennon, as we just see if Gurney can take out this 1-4-2. Well, he opted to go for the bullseye there, I think. But going for the treble 20 might have been the best bet for him with the guide that he had. Bullseye a smaller target than the trebles, of course. He was trying to leave his favourite double. That's the thinking behind it.
Wrong thinking.
Yeah, stinking thinking.
43.
Not punished at
40.
all. And in the end, he's left double top anyway. But he hits
Shot
that
the
just
first
as
leg.
well.
Daryl
Yeah,
Gurney.
Steve Lennon was
Second leg is
beaten
Daryl to throw
by
first.
a brilliant
Game
Chris
on.
Dobie performance yesterday. Lennon didn't really get going and hit the heights that we know he can, but Dobie will take on Mervyn King tonight. Now, I spent a little bit of the last match in the practice room when there were only two players in the practice room
91.
playing tonight.
And were there those two?
They weren't. They were Joe Cullen, who was on first this
Right,
evening,
yes, that makes more sense.
and Mervyn King, who plays in the penultimate match of the night against Chris Dobie.
Yeah, well,
100.
Merv, if he does lose tonight, or if he does lose in the next round, or at any point in this tournament, and he may not, he may go on and win it. He's won Euro Tour titles in the past.
140.
But if he does lose, it's not going to be down to a lack of preparation. Might be down to fatigue for 9 hours in the practice room, but it's not going to be down to a lack of preparation.
And actually, to highlight that point, out of the two, Joe Cullen was sat down, settling into the venue. Mervyn King was on the practice board and looked like he might have been for some time.
60.
But yeah, we will return 7:15 p.m. local time. That's 6:15 if you're watching us in the UK. And Cullen against Darius Labanauskas kicks off proceedings. We'll also see the number 2 seed
59.
and defending champion Michael Smith, the world champion Rob Cross, and the world number 1 Michael Van Gerwen. They're all in action in the first half of this evening's entertainment. The number 2 in the world, Peter Wright, ending the show, closing the show tonight against Michael Barnard.
Well, I've been billing this as a clash of World Cup of Darts teammates. A couple of other stars of the World Cup have been in action today on the development tour.
131.
And we've just had the result in from the first one this weekend. And Martin Schindler, the German number 2,
91.
has claimed another development tour title with a 5-0 whitewash of the world youth champion Dimitri Vandenberg, who, in my opinion, was second only to Michael Van Gerwen in the standard of darts he was producing in Frankfurt last weekend. And he's done it.
96.
One average
40.
over the ton, couple of high 90s ones.
Gurney too high with all 3 darts.
Brendan Uruguay 127.
Brendan Dolan with a chance to pick his pockets. Only 1 treble required. Must be treble 19. Bullseye for 127 in game to Brendan Dolan.
Third leg is Brendan to throw first. Game on.
Well, a 13-dart break for Daryl Gurney, responded to with a 127 in game break on the bullseye for Dolan.
And as you said,
100.
showing signs, isn't he, Brendan Dolan have returned to former glories. And that was a sign that he's not going to roll over for the Northern Irish number 1.
In fact,
he might even turn him over.
Well, it'd be the first time in 4 years if he did.
60.
Brendan was talking after his first round victory against James Wilson, and he said, look, whoever won out of myself or the Lethal Biscuit, it's always going to be tough this game because we're playing a mate. You know, it's my teammate, James Wilson, the same stable. But he did promise to try and rip Davil's head off, and back-to-back 180s in this third leg suggests he's doing a decent job of it.
100.
127 to win the last leg. 2 180s in this one. Brendan Dolan has caught light.
$25. 85. But then you require 16.
$32 places behind
Brendan Dolan.
Gurney in the world rankings.
Well, they get Darryl to throw first. Game on.
If he takes the lead in this match. Gurney's Pro Tour ranking is the same as his world ranking, number 5.
140.
Well, he is a player who does travel, he does compete, he does work, treats darts as a job, and so he will compete in everything he gets a chance to compete in.
108.
But the minute he's struggling to compete with Brendan Dolan. 3 180s for Dolan. It's Super Chin who's the biggest 180 hitter in darts at the minute, isn't it?
That's his second.
Oof, just the wrong side of the wire.
Yeah, might have needed a 9 darter to win this leg with Gurney
95.
down to 181 after half a dozen.
I think he is a little bit frustrated, Daryl Gurney, that he, despite being number 5 in the world and a reigning major champion, that he has been overlooked for some of the World Series events this year. Feels that he should be there.
Yeah, he gave a good account of himself in the Premier League, didn't he? Narrowly missed out on a playoff spot.
96.
Yeah, went right the way to the final week. He could have. It would have taken a miracle for him to do it, but he was still in with a chance. Now he's already had a 127, the 130, a very similar shot. If anything, it could be considered a little easier because you get to go at the same treble bed, and that's probably a help. Oh, not quite.
Well, he did try and use a dart, and it was probably just a little too high.
Darryl, that score was 51. Darryl, you require 40.
Needs 40, not 38.
Game shot on the 4th leg. Darryl Gurney. Fifth leg is Brendan to throw first.
And has a little
game on.
Chuckle with our match official Kirk Bevans.
$140. $140.
Darryl Gurney. Another annoyance to him will be the fact that he hasn't picked up a European Tour title yet, and perhaps one of his best chances came
125
when he led Michael van Gerwen by some distance.
Yeah, I'm still not sure how he managed to lose that game. It was
55.
It looked like it was the most jaded I'd seen MVG perform. I mean, even at times when he's been beaten on big stages this year, players have had to play really well to do so. Gurney was not playing anywhere near his best. It's just that it was better than Michael Van Gerwen for most of that game. And then Van Gerwen kind of got his act together and Gurney didn't take his opportunities.
Did have much darts to beat MVG, who went on to beat Steve Lennon in the final.
139.
Masters, a tournament in which Daryl Gurney had lost to MVG in the final before. And 96 for Brendan Dolan. 36.
Game shot on the fifth leg. Brendan Dolan.
Executed.
Seems like it's Daryl to throw first. Game on.
Well, this game has been getting better and better after a bit of a sluggish start, because the averages are now very, very impressive. Brendan Dolan, his winning legs have been 18, but that was finished on the 1-2-7. And then a 13 darter and an 11 darter. It's a brace of 13 darters for Daryl Gurney. This is turning into a right old tear up. There's no "you're my mate, let's go easy on each other" stuff here.
134.
They are trying to knock lumps out of each other. Look at that, 104.5 for Brendan Dolan.
134.
Mentioned that run that weekend for Brendan Dolan was fantastic in Milton Keynes. Well, Daryl Gurney, since that Dutch Darts Masters semi-final, hasn't been past the last 16 in anything.
180.
If Brendan Dolan carries on like this, he might not even get there this time around.
Brendan Dolan carries on like this all weekend, he's going to win.
180.
Now then.
No guarantee that he'll even win this match, because Gurney is raising his game. Anything you can do, I can do.
Already seen one Northern Irish darts player claim the title this year on the tour, but it's not
Early
going to
require
be
47.
Mickey Mansell, so it is. Nearly in the double there. That is in the double. 11 darter from Dolan, 11 darter right back at it from Daryl Gurney. This is turning into a fabulous contest, both averaging more than 103.
Gurney gave it big licks as well, celebrating that one. Leaving Brendan Dolan in no doubt. Their enemies on the stage right now.
60.
Just go through little spells, Daryl Gurney. If you look back over at the last couple of years, there are months and 6-week periods where it's quarter-final, semi-final, semi-final, final for Daryl Gurney. And they can go off the boil at times.
60.
But he's a guy who seems to be able to ride the wave of good form.
Well, am I right in saying when he picked up his first PDC title last year, he very nearly did the double over the weekend and he was denied by Joe Cullen?
60.
He beat Kim Hybrex, as I recall, on the Saturday in the final, average 107.
I think he was as close as missing a match start at the bullseye.
He did miss a match start at the bullseye and Joe Cullen stole it away from him. But it would have been doing the double over a weekend, which is a rare feat in PDC darts. We've seen Van Gerwen do it, obviously. Gary Anderson has done it this year. Very few players have managed to win 2 events in the same weekend.
57.
Well, all of a sudden, a laboured leg here. 60, 60, 60 for Brendan Dolan. And Daryl Gurney, 3 points behind because the last score was 57. No treble in the leg yet. Here we go. Dolan's in.
140.
And like flights out of Gibraltar Airport, you don't hear one for ages, and a couple come along at once.
140.
Pretty much dart for dart. Chin can see the funny side of things.
$100.
For two guys that are supposedly mates, there's very little interaction with them.
54.
They're not, you know, not
And then
meeting each
require
other's eye. There's no
81.
comments. There's nothing at all. They're just trying to focus on their own game. I think that's the right thing to do, and it's helping them produce a fabulous game of darts here.
Now then, Might only be a dart at the bullseye for Brendan. That's all he's got. He's hit it once in the match.
56.
But not this time. And Daryl
Gurney,
Gurney
130.
only needs one treble to earn himself a shot at the same target.
Can he find it? Oh, it's gone the other way. That's the second time I've seen that in a week, and I don't think I'd ever seen it before.
38.
Kirk Bevins
When you require 25.
not straining his eyes to see if that point's touching the board.
It's nearly touching the ceiling.
These are bounce outs.
Getting a shot on the 7th leg.
Brendan Dolan edges back ahead.
To throw first. Game on.
Don't forget that if you're a seeded player in these European Tour events and you lose your first match, the prize money does not go on your rankings. Daryl Gurney, that won't mean as much as it does to some, because he is ranked 5 in the world and 5 on the Pro Tour Order of Merit.
45.
But we will see it affect the likes of Stephen Bunting and Darren Webster, who lost earlier on today.
Yeah, well, with Gurney, I mean, because
55.
last year was so good for him, you know, won the Grand Prix, semi-finals at the match play, the UK Open, the World Championship quarter-final 2 years ago. Like, a lot of his money was won in the last 12 months. So he's not defended. The bulk of his money has come recently. So the stuff he's defending isn't as much. So you would think he's in a great position. If he just carries on playing in the way that he has over the last 12 months, he's going to be, his ranking
98.
Order of Merit will go up. So he's in a great position to actually move up from number 5 in the world. It's just a case of whether he can catch those guys above him. Because obviously, when you look at the guys above him are absolutely incredible. Rob Cross hasn't played 2 years on the tour yet.
Yeah, he's on a complete free roll again this year. Michael van Gerwen just is a winning machine.
Yeah, he's £1 million clear anyway. But Peter Wright will be defending a lot of money.
The interesting thing with Peter Wright is that he's maintained that
44.
number 2 stroke number 3 position in the world for a good couple of years now, without winning a huge major title. I mean, he won the UK Open, but one of the lower prize money major titles. And that will come off next March, so he's got time to supersede that between now and then.
164.
Well, 25 grand for a Euro Tour title wouldn't do him any harm, would it? Not quite sure what all the commotion in the crowd was about.
Well, Brendan Dolan here, a big visit, could really apply some pressure, and he could steal a march and put the match right in the palm of his hand, because Gurney on 82, if he doesn't find the bullseye with the first dart, we'll only get one dart.
137.
Brendan Dolan has done very, very well from that position. Slightly better check out this. He hasn't even hit the 25. So it's only going to be a dart at the bullseye unless he finds a treble, which he has not.
57.
Now,
Brendan, you require 74.
there has never been a 2-leg gap between these two in this match. One could open up here. Dolan would love to see this straight into the treble 14. It'll have to be 20 and tops. He's not moving. He's looking at the right-hand side of that bed.
34.
Well, it's just a wild one.
Darrell, you require 25.
Double 8.
Yeah, shot on the 8th leg.
Snatches that chance away.
9th leg is Brendan to throw first. Game on.
Takes his time getting his dart at the board. He knew how important that was. He kissed the dart, Daryl Gurney, as he retrieved it.
Well, they've both pulled out 25 checkouts in the last 2 legs.
83.
Last start into double 8 with the other guy waiting on a finish. And in a tight game like that, they are crucial. You can tell this is tense.
Well, especially for Daryl in that situation where he's
84.
trying to avoid being broken and Dolan then throwing for the match.
Well, they broke each other in the first 2 legs of this game, but ever since then it's been hold, 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 hold. And a bit like a penalty shootout, you get the feeling that as long as you score your penalty. As long as you hold your throw, you're the one with the advantage, because all that pressure is on the other guy to try and hold his. Yes, all right, you'll get the decisive leg. You will throw first anyway.
96.
But if Dolan could hold his throw here, then there is enormous pressure on Gurney just to hold his own throw, let alone to find the break in the last leg decider.
.96. Important last start for Brendan Dolan there, finding a treble. Daryl Gurney fills it up.
182.
First to a finish. Is Brendan's throw going to be under threat?
8 maximums in this game, 4 apiece. Fitting, really, for a game that has been so tight and such high quality right the way through.
58. Daryl, you require 141.
Brendan Dolan had 127 earlier on in this match. That was to break in leg 2.
125.
You might need 124 to avoid being broken and handing the initiative to Daryl Gurney. Rebel 18 would leave the ball again. Can't find it.
56. Daryl, you require 16.
Gurney can hit double 8. Brendan may be broken in more ways than one.
Yes, on the ninth leg.
Double 4 gives Daryl Gurney the lead for the first time since that opening leg where he got the break. Superchin, the Grand Prix champion, has found a way to get himself in a position to win this game. The averages have dropped. Those 7th and 8th legs there, where it got a bit scrappy, they've seen the averages drop from around about the 100 mark to the 93, 94 mark.
100.
But it does not matter. It's about this leg for Daryl Gurney.
Brendan Dolan really needing to outscore Gurney at every turn here.
99.
Or at least cling on to his coattails and pounce when the opportunity, if the opportunity presents itself.
100.
Anya, Daryl's other half, recently became a dad, Daryl.
$140.
This game is not over.
This time he does outscore Gurney. And that's not the kind of dart that Daryl wanted. Better off high on the treble, but he's found his way around the board to tidy it up a little bit. But Brendan Dolan here can be first to a finish just by hitting one treble, as long as he gets his mathematics right.
$58.
The maths weren't the problem. The darts were.
Now Gurney grabbing the advantage with both hands.
135.
One match dart should be coming in for Daryl Gurney when he returns to the board. He might get 2. He might not be under a lot of pressure.
60.
He's not. And Brendan Dolan,
73.
well, it was the old Dolan for a lot of this game. It's been a fantastic contest, but it looks like the leading light of Northern Irish darts
is
seeing off the man who was the chief representative for the country for a number of years. A 6-4 win, and Gurney will take on Steve West tomorrow.
Yes, it was the Brendan Dolan role at the start of the contest, but it was the same old story against Daryl Gurney. A 6th straight win for him against his World Cup teammate. No friends during the match, but their old pals act returns at the end. But Gurney moves through. We'll be back at 7:15 tonight local time to see the likes of Joe Cullen, Michael Smith, Rob Cross, Peter Wright and the world #1 Michael van Gerwen join us this evening. And we're just going to have the final word to Daryl Gurney talking to Dan Dawson after he sees off his World Cup partner Brendan Dolan in the final match of this afternoon. at the Gibraltar Darts Trophy.
Darryl, congratulations. Brendan said after his first round game, oh, it's going to be tough. We're mates, we're World Cup of Darts partners. It's difficult playing your friend. You were tearing lumps out of each other for large portions of that game. It's a fantastic match.
Well, we always say the good things before the game, but whenever in the middle of the game, all we want to do is beat one another, obviously. But I thought that that's the best I've seen Brendan play in a long, long time on the stage, possibly. I don't know what the averages was. So congratulations to Brendan, because as you say, we are good friends, and I know he's been struggling over the last couple of years, and I just wish him to progress and get better, get to where he should be, because at the end of the day, he wasn't top 10 in the world and winning that many PDC tournaments for nothing. So I'd like to just congratulate him on putting the hard work in, dedicating himself to try and get himself back up here and playing proper darts again. So congratulations to Brendan.
Superb stuff from Brendan Dolan. Made a game of it, but just when you needed it, you managed to find, I mean, 5 180s in that game, and a lot of them at very, very crucial times.
Yeah, no, they came at probably the perfect times, but I kept on looking over, and I thought to myself, whenever I missed 3 darts to go 2-0 up, and then he took it at 1-2-7, I thought to myself, oh, well done, Darryl. Usual crap, to be honest. And that's not a DRA, that's not a swear word. No, I thought to myself, oh, here we go. It's going to go probably all the way once he took the 1-2-7, because then the next 6 darts, I think he kicked off 140, 140, and then something else. But just to get over that game was a mental struggle for myself, because I just thought, just hang in there, and hopefully I'll give you a shot. And he did, and I crossed the finish line before he did.
Certainly did. Congratulations, Darryl. Through to the final day of action. Fantastic game to round off the afternoon session here. Super Chin will take on Steve West in the last 16 tomorrow.